Blessed are the eyes that see what you see. For I tell you, many kings and prophets have desired to see what you see, and have not seen it. To hear what you hear, and have not heard it. I thank you, Father, for hiding these things from the learned and the wise, and revealing them to the innocent and the simple.
The death of Israeli-American Hallel Yafa Ariel shocked the nation. A Palestinian teenager snuck into her bedroom and stabbed her to death. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expressed the emotion of the country.
This morning, a terrorist sneaked into the bedroom of a 13-year-old girl, Hallel Yafa Ariel. He murdered young Hallel in cold blood. The picture of her blood-stained room is almost too hard to see. There's a teddy bear still on her bed, a red beanbag chair, some pictures on the wall, shoes tightly packed in a bin next to her bunk bed. Why would any person do this?
Netanyahu blamed incitement by the Palestinian Authority. Just 3 days before the murder of Ariel, a senior member of Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas's political party told a newspaper, "Everywhere you see an Israeli, cut off his head."
You don't murder a sleeping child for peace. You don't slit a little girl's throat to protest a policy you don't like. You do this because you've been brainwashed. You've been brainwashed by a warped ideology that teaches you that this child isn't human.
Ariel was a U.S. citizen and cousin to a senior Israeli cabinet minister.
The reality is that this incitement by Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas has resulted in the murdering of children. The vengeance of the Lord is the vengeance of the Lord, but our vengeance is continuing to build on this land.
According to a Hebron news agency, the mother of 17-year-old Mohammed Taraira said, "My son is a hero. He made me proud. My son died as a martyr defending Jerusalem and Al-Aqsa Mosque." Fatah also honored Taraira by declaring him a martyr. Hundreds came to Ariel's funeral. Her mother, Rina, blamed Mohammed's mother. "I raised my daughter with love," she said. "You taught your son to hate."
The leader of al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri, has warned the United States of the gravest consequences if Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev or any other Muslim prisoner is executed. Tsarnaev was sentenced to death last year for the 2013 bomb attack, which killed 3 people and injured more than 260.
In a matter of minutes, flames raced up the side of this hill in San Bernardino, destroying at least 4 homes. Gustavo Nava and his girlfriend managed to escape before their home went up.
She runs out to the window to see what the dog's barking at, and sure enough, there's flames rattling the window.
Nearly 10 acres of drought-stricken land were scorched before firefighters were able to get the fire under control. Taylor Owen's home was in his family for 3 generations.
Yeah, it sucks. We're upset. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to get back a lot of the memories and stuff like that.
Farther north in Kern County, the fire has burned 1,700 acres and is now threatening 300 homes. Officials are worried the fire will intensify as it approaches an area filled with dead and dying trees. This is the same county that lost 150 homes in a devastating wildfire nearly 2 weeks ago.
As Americans prepare to celebrate Independence Day, new terror attacks, this time in Iraq, have killed at least 120 people. 2 bombs went off Sunday in the capital city of Baghdad, just as people were breaking their religious fasts. The bombings followed an assault on a cafe in Bangladesh on Friday, in which 3 U.S. college students were among the dead.
The first explosion rocked Baghdad's central business district, engulfing an entire shopping mall in flames. Against an orange sky, dazed shoppers and first responders sifted through twisted and charred wreckage for any survivors. The attack happened shortly after midnight Sunday morning as families were eating dinner after fasting during the day for the holy month of Ramadan. Baghdad police blamed the carnage on a massive bomb in the back of a pickup truck. People couldn't recognize their families who were engulfed in the fire, said this man who managed to escape. Police said many of the victims were children. The Islamic State was quick to claim responsibility. It is the third attack in 3 countries linked to the group in less than a week. On Friday in Bangladesh, the Islamic State claimed their militants stormed a popular restaurant and took dozens of foreigners hostage. 3 students studying in American universities, including Abida Kabir from Miami, were among the 20 people brutally murdered.
These images have been common in China in recent weeks. Heavy rains and storms have battered the country, causing severe flooding in many areas. In the city of Tongcheng in eastern China, floodwaters broke an elevated flume at a reservoir on Sunday. The incident happened after 3 days of extraordinary rainstorms. On the same day in central China's Enshu city, 18 people were trapped by landslides triggered by torrential rain. In Jinchang in Hubei province, water broke through dams and reservoirs, flooding farmland. Roads were damaged and houses were submerged so that only their rooftops could be seen.
There hasn't been rain like this in decades. I'm 74. I have never seen rains like this before in my life. It's scary.
In Jiangsu province's Yixing city, record high flood levels hit all the surrounding rivers. Floods caused power failures, affecting more than 6,000 families. Similar scenarios were also seen in central Hunan province, southwestern Guizhou province, and the southern Guangxi Zhuang autonomous region.
There is no let-up in a wave of terror and suicide bombings as the Muslim holy month of Ramadan draws to a close. There were attacks today in 3 cities in Saudi Arabia, killing at least 4. One was near the U.S. consulate in Jeddah. Another outside one of Islam's holiest sites, the Prophet's Mosque in Medina.
Even in a country awash in bloodshed, this was bad. The ISIS suicide bomber knew just where and when to strike to kill as many civilians as possible. The holy month of Ramadan ends this week, and cafes and shops along the boulevard were packed full of families enjoying the cool of the night after fasting through the long, hot day when the car bomb went off. Even as they carried more body bags away from the rubble and wreckage, it was already clear that this was the worst single terror attack to hit the capital in years. I swear to God, the government is a failure, this woman says. They are the ones who brought terrorism here. The attack came only about a week after Iraqi government forces completely recaptured the nearby city of Fallujah in a fierce battle that lasted for weeks. Yet the more territory ISIS loses on the battlefield, the more terror attacks it launches away from it. As they hold vigils for victims in Iraq, there are many questions, but one dead certainty, that another ISIS attack will come.
This storm, spotted in Louisa, Kentucky, near the border of West Virginia, was part of a weather system that ripped through the state. A possible twister tore through the local Walmart. Parts of the roof were sheared off, and the damage inside was widespread.
There's merchandise just strewn out throughout the entire store.
Outside, the storm's violent winds flipped a truck. Trees and light poles snapped at their base. This fireworks stand in the parking lot didn't stand a chance.
Literally looked like a funnel in the sky there. It was coming over that mountain. It was filled.
About 100 miles to the west in Lexington, high winds brought down trees and damaged homes.
I thought it was coming through the house. It sounded like it was coming through the house.
The local 4th of July celebration in Lexington started out fine, but was interrupted by heavy rains and powerful winds by early afternoon.
It flattened the tents, it blew all the gear down, everything sopping wet, people were running for their lives, it looked like.
About 50 miles south in Rockcastle County, Steve Lunsford watched from the window of his home as the storm threw his car around like a toy.
It just picked it straight up and set her down over here.
China has announced it will conduct military exercises this week in the waters. The China Maritime Safety Administration posted an official notice on its website on Sunday saying that drills in the region will begin on Tuesday and run until July 11th. The exercises will finish one day before the arbitration court in The Hague announces its decision on the South China Sea territorial dispute in a case unilaterally initiated by the Philippines.